What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Here we are today. I'm Rich,
I'm Quill.
and thank you for stopping by, Sideline Society. We're back at it again. So we've ended the season real quick. We'll do a recap. The Super Bowl went about as well as either of us could have hoped it would have went.
Yeah, it did not go at all how I thought it was going to go, though.
No, the Super Bowl was a very interesting situation, to say the least. I mean, I thought it would be a little more competitive.
I did, for sure.
Mahomes definitely looked shook a few times.
Yep, they did.
We just talked about, never really seeing Mahomes in a moment that was almost too big for him or really be the reason they lose, and then look what just happened.
Yeah,
a lot of criticism.
The Eagles did exactly what we said they needed to do. They hit him.
They did.
So that's the key to beating, superstar quarterbacks. Same thing like we talked about with Tom Brady in that Super Bowl with the Giants. You just got to hit him. Make him skid a little bit.
And what's funny is just in the kind of algorithms of, the talking heads on YouTube and ESPN and all those different things, a lot of them are like, is this the recipe? Like, oh, did they finally figure it? And it's like, I thought this was always, we talked about it like this was always the recipe.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how you beat great quarterbacks.
Exactly.
You have to pressure them.
Exactly.
I think like anybody with any real football sense should know that within reason.
For sure. Yeah.
But big credit to Philly. Man, looking at it, as well, we're going to get there. We're going to start doing divisional breakdowns here, but we'll get to Philly eventually, I'm sure. But man, their team definitely just looks like they could be ready to compete for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But definitely an interesting situation. We'll cover both teams as the time comes. But this week we are going to start with the AFC North, and our basic format here moving forward in the offseason is we're going to jump around and we're going to go division by division and just break down and see what things are and how we look and what we think of them. So starting with the AFC North, there's the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers.
Yep.
Let's start with the Ravens, man. They played deep, phenomenal team. They got the 27th overall pick in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They have notable free agents. They're losing their left tackle, Stanley, and then Deontay Johnson, receivers. He's leaving.
Yeah. And,
it's always been hard to keep receivers in Baltimore.
It has been.
It's just one of those things, it seems, with Lamar, as great as he is, and even with his passing stats. I don't know. Is he just, no, the Ravens, they might be looking to draft a offensive tackle with the 27th pick is kind of like what their talk is. Or maybe getting like a free agent. As far as receiver goes, they're really, from what it's kind of looking like, I guess they're kind of maybe hoping or banking on maybe Chris Godwin from the Bucs.
Maybe, yeah, he's a free agent, Chris Godwin, or, I don't think T. Higgins would go there.
I don't, yeah.
I think T. Higgins will probably stay since all reality. He talks about leaving, but I know Joe Burrow has publicly said that he wants to keep him. So
and again,
figure something out there.
Divisionally, T. Higgins, he's going to be a free agent. We'll be talking about them actually next after the Ravens here. But, I guess he could sign in division. He's a free agent. He can go where he wants.
He could.
It's not like the Bengals will have much say in it or anything, yeah. So, if you're the Ravens, though, you're losing your star left tackle. You're losing a pretty good receiver. for at least what you guys have as receivers.
Yeah.
You guys made it to the championship game, or no, you didn't, or no, they didn't make it to the championship game. They lost in the divisional round.
Yeah, they lost the divisional round.
And sorry about that. Yeah, they lost in the divisional round. You have King Henry. He's going to be 31, 32 now.
Yeah.
Is Lamar? Lamar is. I think he's at his plateau. I don't see how he could get any better realistically.
The only way he could really get better would be if they did get like a superstar receiver to really push that passing game.
But again, we talked, does anybody really want to go there as a super?
Question, yeah.
It's kind of like, so the Ravens, do you think that's what they really need? Obviously there's going to be other things that will need to be addressed, but is that kind of like one of those things that's, again, not to go back to Buffalo and beat them like a dead horse, but, like we talked about, they really just maybe need like that premium edge rusher. Does Baltimore just need a big play receiver?
Yeah, maybe. Who else? All they have is Flowers. Really, as far as like good receivers go, they got Flowers.
Yeah.
They have obviously Mark Andrews, who's a solid tight end.
Yeah.
Obviously, they rely heavily on the run game with obviously Derrick Henry and both Lamar Jackson. So.
No, they definitely do, and I just I don't think you can count on Derrick Henry having another season like this season. And I've been drinking the Kool-Aid lately of Derrick Henry being the GOAT, but I just don't know if you could really
sustain that for much longer, really.
No, exactly. And yeah, they have Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. I mean, they kind of emerged a little bit, but Deontay Johnson, they got him in a trade back in October, and they kind of I guess thought they were going to get a little more out of him, but it doesn't seem like that's happening.
No, Deontay Johnson hasn't done so much.
Yeah, and obviously Stanley, he's kind of seen as their main offensive lineman.
Stanley and the left guard, Patrick McKeely.
Yeah, and no, that's actually so their offensive line might need some real addressing this offseason, especially if they're planning on continuing to play football the way they're built to play.
Well, for sure, if they're going to continue to rely heavily on the run game, you need an offensive line to run the ball good. That's just facts. I mean, look at. Well, actually, I don't want to jump over that too much, get off too topic, but I can say look at Philly with Saquon. But honestly, Saquon did get shut out in the Super Bowl. He didn't do nothing.
No, but I think that played into why the Chiefs lost. They were so solely focused on Saquon.
They focused on, I feel like.
And I understand. You know what? I probably would have done the same thing. You got to put Jalen Hurts in a position to have to beat you throwing. You dare him to do it, and you know what? He showed.
He showed he could.
And this is we're not going to get crazy on him, but it's right after the Super Bowl. It's still relevant enough to be like Jalen Hurts showed he could do that.
Hey, back what I said. I think I said the last episode I didn't think he could keep up, but he did.
No, he definitely he balled out, and obviously the iconic picture going around. I'm sure you've seen it of him sitting there with the cigar
on his body.
Yeah, it's going around. That's going to be a poster.
Oh, for sure.
That's already so many people's cell phone backgrounds probably.
100%.
So we'll wrap up, just our last little thing here with the Ravens. I mean, they got a couple things on defense. It doesn't seem like they're very stacked. But Justin Tucker, their kicker, their Hall of Fame kicker, the big question mark with him, he's kind of looking at some allegations and stuff.
He is, yeah.
Do they have to go get a new kicker?
Well, I mean,
it never matters until it fucking matters.
Yeah, no. I mean, probably if they get if he gets charged with anything, even if it's not criminal charges, even if it's civil charges or whatever.
Yeah, just like Deshaun Watson, I don't think he faced any real criminal.
No, just civil.
It was just all civil class action.
So he'll probably, and honestly, he didn't look that great this year. He was missing.
I don't actually have his numbers right in front of me right now to actually know, but I don't. I think he missed enough that I saw he actually lost the most accurate kicker thing.
Yeah, he did.
Because he missed that much.
Exactly. So I feel like, honestly, if he gets even civil charges, maybe, probably.
I think you maybe have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some new blood there. I don't know what the kicking situation is like draft-wise or anything. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about kickers like that.
Nope.
This is where Pat McAfee shines, not us. But no, I mean, that's just something, another thing, another thing on the plate of possible replacements and things that Baltimore... So real quick, do we think they're going to make a deep run next year? Or do you think there might be a little step back where, they'll probably still be successful and good, but maybe not quite the team they were this year?
I got to stand by because I'm pretty sure, way too early picks, I'm pretty sure I picked them and the Lions in the Super Bowl.
That's true. So, yeah, you went right. You doubled down on that one.
I doubled down on that one, so.
You know what? I like it, though. I went Detroit and the Chiefs. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
I did. And you know what? I stand. I think Patrick Mahomes might be on a little bit of a fucking revenge tour next year. Maybe he feels slighted in person. Now people are bashing him. Now he's getting a lot of shit.
Sometimes when you're a great player, you need that little bit of chip on your shoulder.
You need adversity. You need a little. That's when you find out who you really are.
When things start going too smooth, you get complacent.
Exactly. That's a good point. Very good point. All right. So moving forward now, let's get on to the Bengals. So the Bengals here. Let me get blah blah blah. Wasn't quite as ready for them as I thought I was. Okay, so they got the 17th overall pick.
Yep.
Obviously, we talked about they're losing T. Higgins.
Possibly.
Yeah, he's definitely a possibility. B.J. Hill, their defensive tackle, he's a big-time player. He's on his way out, it's looking like. Now, as far as T. Higgins' possible departure, though, the Bengals are kind of a lot of projections got them drafting Arizona receiver, Teodoro McMillan, I think is how you say it. I don't know too much about him, personally.
They probably will draft
a receiver
because that's the thing they do.
Then fucking get offensive
line. That's what I said.
What is wrong with
We said this before. Get offensive line, bro.
Protect Burrow.
Yeah,
he ain't that tough.
No, this is why the dude's always hurt.
Yeah, it really is pretty crazy. And as far as the potential void by B.J. Hill, maybe they get somebody in free agency or something. I'm not too sure. Let me get a little more detail here.
I mean, they could always, like I said, they could swoop if they do lose T. Higgins, which one thing I think he'll probably end up re-signing with them. To be honest with you, they also haven't re-signed the tight end Mike. What's his name from used to be on Miami? Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki.
Gesicki, yes.
Yeah, I always liked Gesicki. He was really nice. It seems like he's maybe not like a baller tight end, but boy, he's a nice red zone target.
Yeah, but I mean, they could swoop. Once again, they could swoop Chris Godwin, or I think Allen Robinson is also a free agent.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of them. No, but Burrow. In 2023 he signed his $275 million extension.
Yep.
He's there to stay. We've talked about the conversation though. Maybe if things don't start to gain some traction in the next season or two, the money right now, $275 million. It always seems like when we see a contract like that signed, it's always historic and crazy in the moment, and then 5 years later, it's like the 15th best contract in the NFL.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like here in a few years, his contract's not going to be as crazy as what it seems right in this moment. So it's like in 2 years, if the traction ain't there and he's gotten hurt once or twice more and kind of not been around when they've needed him to make a playoff run or something or whatever, or just it doesn't come together. We're talking about Burrow leading the league in passing right now and all these things. I understand that. But it's like, if you're not getting the results at a point.
Yeah. At that point, though, I don't know if you can really blame Bo for that. Like I said, he's leading in passing and touchdowns and all a bunch of stuff. At that point, I feel like maybe you just gotta change up head coach of GMs.
Yeah, management's always
a big
such a huge issue.
I mean, like we just said, they don't draft O-line ever.
No, they don't.
So.
And there's some free agents going out there and stuff. Like there's Trey Smith, he's a guard, he'll be out there. Darnold, he hasn't re-signed yet. He's technically out there. I mean, Darnold obviously isn't going to be for them, but yeah, there's Chris Godwin. There's as far as Debo, I forgot about him. Debo's going to be out there. He's talking about he wants to leave.
Yeah.
Debo wants out. So there's some guys. Maybe does Debo go to Cincinnati?
He might. I mean,
that'd be a sick.
Still a little setup there for him.
Instead of drafting a receiver, draft an offensive lineman and get Debo.
Yeah. That'd be a nice little matchup. Honestly,
it's not a bad
duo for sure.
No.
I mean, obviously they could soup up like.
They got Jamar Chase already. You get Debo on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they could soup up obviously Stanley, like we just talked about him from the Ravens. He's entering free agency.
Yeah, that's true.
To help build up the offensive line.
So
maybe draft someone. And then also another thing, since I probably need to look at defense.
Yeah, I was just looking at their defense here. They have Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard at defensive end. I mean, they're pretty nice, but they're not really those guys like that. I don't think. Trey Hendrickson's actually really good.
Trey Hendrickson is actually good.
Yeah, he's really good. I'm not going to downplay his abilities or skills.
For sure.
As far as it goes, I mean, you think the GM? Who's their GM? Duke Tobin? I don't even know who the fuck that guy is. And Zach Taylor's their coach.
Yeah.
I mean, they're people I don't even know. So that says all I need to know about them at this point. To be honest, yeah. I'm not trying to sound too. So we think maybe I don't know. I think they should go for.
I would
draft line. Maybe get a receiver in free agency.
I would draft line for sure. Swoop Debo, Godwin. Only if Higgins leaves. Swoop Debo, Godwin, or maybe Allen.
You think Higgins is leaving? I think it seems like he's probably leaving.
I think he'll resign. To be honest with you.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What makes you think that?
He talked about last year. Last season was his big year where he wanted to leave. He was public about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up staying. And he hasn't been that, which the off-season just started. But he hasn't been that public about leaving this year. And I know specifically Joe Burrow has even talked about restructuring his deal so he can keep Higgins and Chase around longer. So. So Burrow himself is going to.
Burrow's going to bat.
He's going to get Higgins more money out of his cut, basically.
Yeah, and that's what we just talked about, where Burrow's contract really isn't going to be that crazy, and maybe if he's already willing to restructure and pass some money around. Burrow's a team player. I'm not going to knock him as an individual. He seems like a really great guy, like locker room guy.
Sure, he's good.
So again, do you think What do we think for Cincinnati? Do you think they take a step forward? Do they take a step back? I think they stay right where they're at. I don't think there will be any significant improvement by this time next year. At least when it's all done and said.
I mean, they might get a little better. Because honestly, what were they this year? They were pretty ass. They were like 6 and something or 5 and something. Like they weren't that much better than. Well, they had to have been like. I guess they had 17 pick.
Man, it's so hard to pull like basic stuff. There we go. Standings. They went 9-8.
Yeah. So not yeah.
That's run of the road.
Yeah.
That's. I think they'll stay right there.
Probably in reality, unless they do something crazy in the off season. Because obviously, what if they got on the team, even with Joey B absolutely slaying.
I mean, they got running backs. They got Khalil Herbert, Chris Evans, Zach Moss. I mean, nobody's really taken over as a guy.
No.
They need Burrow to throw it.
They do. That's why he has so much passing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing they could do to maybe elevate the offense.
I mean, who do you get? Do you get I mean, is there anybody? I don't even think there's any notable running backs coming in free agency. And as far as the draft, yeah, you can draft somebody. I mean, maybe you drafted fucking Etienne or the Georgia back, in the 3rd round or something.
Yeah, you could draft that dude. I mean, I don't really know because I mean, obviously the 17 pick, Aston Genty, I don't think will still be that 17. Man, he might be. It depends on how.
I don't think so. The projections we saw, and then a couple I've seen on my own time, have him going probably before, if not top 10, probably top 12.
More likely.
Is
who's
right.
that? Yeah, I think who else is the running backs in the draft? There was another good one. Get his name.
I mean, there's a couple. I'm not gonna pretend. Hang on. In draft. No, as far as the running backs coming out, I know you got Genty. I know there's he's really solid. He's got he's obviously not the biggest guy, but he's got like a solid frame and stuff. Again, there's Hampton from North Carolina. He's a pretty solid, strong runner. A lot of people talk about he has good vision and stuff. He's not exactly the most elusive guy, though, or anything like that. Then you got Iowa's running back, Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
He's not, again, these are all guys, Trayvon Henderson from Ohio State. He's a guy.
Trayvon Henderson, yeah. The question is, though.
I would want him. If I could scoop him in the 2nd round, boy, I feel like I stole him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what his projected draft. I'm sure he's probably the running backs now are not,
Unless you're like a god tier running back.
You're not looked at, yeah.
Not too much in the 1st round, really.
But, Henderson's just seems like, he's a really solid.
The only question is, do you think any of these ones in the draft, besides, obviously, Genty, do you think they're really going to be good enough to solidify themselves as a number 1 running back?
Off the rip?
Yeah.
Yes.
You think so?
Running backs historically have more success as rookies and early year players than any other position usually. Yeah. Except maybe like D-line, O-line, you can kind of plug and play a lot of times.
Yeah.
There's some always struggles and guys that bust. But, running backs, I mean, look at Todd Gurley. He's like 30 right now, and he's been in the league like 4 years. Like, it's like running backs, they come in, they not typically does a running back have like a Priest Holmes kind of career where he's like a backup and then like kind of develops and comes into it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, there's been like a Michael Turner, but he was a backup to LaDainian Tomlinson. It's kind of hard to get on the field when there's like one of the goats in front of you.
That's right. Yeah.
So like situations like that, sure, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
So I think someone like Gentry, like his best years could be his first 2 or 3 years in the NFL, and then after that, he gets the mileage, the wear and tear. He's already not a very big back. He's not a very contact guy. He takes a few big shots at the NFL level, gets a grind on them.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, they could draft a running back. I would, obviously, it wouldn't be till later. I would definitely focus on the 1st round. I would get offensive line.
Yeah.
For sure. Some sort of like guard or something for them. I don't know, maybe they could swoop.
I don't know. I would think, wrapping up the Cincinnati angle, I don't think they're going to get Gentry at 17. I think they'd have to. You go O-line.
Sure, for sure. I mean, maybe they could get like William Campbell from LSU at 17.
It's not a bad maybe.
Because they need offensive line, I would say.
That's whoever the best offensive lineman available is, who's already not like, even if you already have like a great player at that position, like Philly's shown. They drafted a center 3 years ago in the second round when they already had Jason Kelce. Guess what they did with him? They put him at guard, and they let him learn and play, and when Jason Kelce retired, now he's an all-pro center.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Who cares? Whoever the best offensive lineman available is, get him and put him somewhere on your line, and he'll develop and come.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just put him out there. You need somebody there.
For sure.
That's...
Like I said, I would say offensive line definitely, and honestly, maybe draft a rookie offensive line person, like I said, like Campbell. And maybe look at someone like Stanley or something.
Yeah. So, we don't think they're going anywhere, though, this season. I'm assuming that, bad management, bad ownership, it's always the one thing. The Bengals, for a long time, were the joke of the league, not even having an indoor practice facility. Still the same ownership, They're not going anywhere, I don't think.
I don't think so, no. Unless something crazy happens.
So, moving on. Here we are, Quillen. It's time for the Browns.
For the Brownies.
There was a lot of back and forth talk this year.
It was.
There's a lot of things happening. We've got some breakdowns here. I feel like you know them far better than anybody I know that knows them.
Yeah.
So I feel like you'll have quite a bit to say about this subject. And then obviously, we'll wrap up with your second favorite team, the Steelers. But Browns first. We'll go Browns first.
Like dogs first.
Fuck the Steelers. All right, so you guys got the second overall pick.
Yep.
You got the first pick of the second round. You got third round. You got the third and 30th pick. Myles Garrett wants out. You guys say you're keeping him. As far as anything else goes, where do we start? What do you think?
Well, I think if we do want to keep Myles Garrett, maybe we pull a wild move and we draft Abdul Carter, number 2 overall.
Who?
Abdul Carter.
Okay. Who is he?
Edge rusher.
Okay.
We pair him with Myles Garrett. Because, like I said before, I don't know if I really want a quarterback.
Myles Garrett's gone, dude. What are you talking about?
Garrett's
We're
gone.
pairing him with Myles. He will retire before he plays in it. No.
Well, and even if Myles Garrett does leave,
He's going to Buffalo.
I don't know. We'll see. But
Go ahead.
once again, if Myles Garrett does leave, Abdul Carter might still be the move because then we can replace Myles Garrett with him.
So I like the way you're thinking. It sounds like your thinking is like a logical football. Like you've seen the hype before with a quarterback or some big play guy. Never works.
We historically cannot draft a quarterback.
So you don't want Shador?
No. I am convinced no matter who we draft, whether it be Shador,
Travis Hunter, big play guy?
Cam Wood. I do like Travis Hunter. He came into the pro day as a corner. So that's what he's going into the draft as, a corner, not a receiver.
It's interesting. He'll still play slot.
He can still
You
still
got him up
obviously
in the slot, third receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I do like him. He would be one of the better picks for sure, just because of his diversity. But I don't know. Like I said, we're bad drafting quarterbacks. I feel like no matter who we draft as quarterback, we're going to draft the wrong guy. Because that's just what we do.
yeah. No, I mean, that's true.
But you know who we have been good at drafting?
Lineman.
Edge rusher.
Lineman, historically.
Yeah.
I mean, you wasted Joe Thomas's career.
You know.
You've, like, you wasted, I mean, as far as, man, so you guys got, I don't even know, man. Let's see.
Like I said, I feel...
Jameis, who do you go with?
Like I said, I think we drafted Joe Carter. I would assume he's still big, because I still doubt Tennessee's going to draft him. Tennessee's going to go... I don't know if they're sticking with Levis, but
I think
we'll get to those guys later, I guess.
Yeah, Levis is an interesting situation, I think. Now, I mean, what about, Nick Chubb? Do you guys start...
I feel like we have to.
What if you shock the world and draft Gentry at number 2? Would you be mad? Would you feel like it's a waste? Would you feel like you should have traded back?
Yes. I don't think Gentry is the number 2 overall pick. Like, I'd rather pick up... That's not bad. I'd rather pick up probably Travis Hunter at number 2 overall. Because you can probably get Gentry later, like farther back. At least a couple picks for sure. So you could have traded back, maybe got like a... Probably not much because you wouldn't want to trade back too far, but you could trade it back to like 6 probably still got him, and maybe got
somebody would trade up with you a few picks to get a Travis Hunter. Or
yeah,
a
exactly, and they would give you. You wouldn't get much out of it because it's not that far, but maybe you could get like a third or fourth round out of it too.
You fucking steal their second as well.
Yeah.
You tell them, hey, you want Shador, you want Travis Hunter. It's going to cost you your first at 6 or 7 and your second.
Yeah.
But then you get your guy.
At that point, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad about getting him. I would love to have him on the team because obviously Nick Chubb, much I love him, he's very injury prone now, and we probably do need to get a decent replacement for him with someone at least that can take the load off of him somewhat.
Yeah.
But I would want to, if we're going to get him, I'd want to trade back and get something else out of it to make it more worth it. We shouldn't take him number 2 overall.
That's a good point. So, what is your situation at quarterback right now, man?
So, obviously, I don't think we're going to keep Watson. He might still technically be on the team, but he's
already hurt. He's
okay.
probably not going to play next year. Why would he come in week 14 or something
yeah,
at
exactly.
that point, you know? So
like
he's not gonna play.
we might be able to get out of his contract, like I said, because we had like some sort of like injury clause in there. If he didn't listen to doctors, we could like void it. And I guess he like posted a picture on like Instagram or something like that after surgery without his boot on. So
Yeah.
if we want to get all nitty and gritty and get lawyers involved,
You want to get legal and technical.
we might be able to get out of his contract, at least somewhat. And honestly, at this point, we've already paid a decent bit off his contract, so it is what it is.
What if you guys? This is a wild idea. I don't think anybody's thought of this, but I'm just like kind of looking at their situation here as I'm going over things, and I'm just sitting here thinking with the Deshaun Watson situation and not really knowing. You guys either are drafting a quarterback, number 2 overall, whether it be Cam or Shador. Tennessee. I don't want to get too heavy on Tennessee too much right away, but obviously it's hard to talk about one team without talking about others, especially when you're talking about the number 1, number 2, number 3 overall picks. Tennessee, I think, is going to take Cam Ward.
Probably.
I think they're going to take him.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's going to leave you guys with Shador or Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are, with the Deshaun Watson situation, if you guys take Travis Hunter, what are you doing at quarterback? It almost seems like you're almost like forced into taking Shador Sanders because you have no plan. Now this is where maybe I come with a wild idea.
All right.
Re-sign James. What the fuck y'all doing? If you're not going to take Shador and Cam Ward's gone, and you're not going quarterback and Deshaun Watson's gone pretty much.
If we would have kept Jameis in for the rest of the season, I would have said we'll probably re-sign him. But we took him out halfway through games.
I mean,
so
do you go after a Darnold?
I think if we don't draft a quarterback, what we're probably going to do is we're going to look at someone like, Sam Darnold, maybe,
What
Daniel
about Rodgers?
I would say that. Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers.
Would Rodgers go there, though? Do we really think Rodgers would go to Cleveland?
It would depend on if anyone else is going to take him.
I don't think he wants to play football bad enough to go to Cleveland if nobody else wants him.
That's fair. I don't know. Maybe a Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, I forget about him right now. Is Atlanta getting rid of him? I don't know if they're like. I think they're okay paying him like $55 million a year to just ride the bench and mentor Michael Penix Jr.
And the question is, which I mean, obviously he doesn't have all the power to like negate it, but is Kirk Cousins okay with that?
I think he is.
It might be. I mean,
that dude's a family man. You know, his wife probably loves it. She's like, you're making more money than you've ever made, and I don't have to watch you get hit, and you don't get blamed when they lose because you're not even having to play. And like maybe him as a competitor, the football player in him. You know, you want to be on the field, you want to play, especially if you feel like you're still a high-level player.
Yeah.
But, you know, on another level, a financial level, we've seen Kirk Cousins. You know, he's kind of a straight-edge kind of guy. You know, his wife picks his clothes for him in the morning. And we've seen the quarterback. You've watched that, I'm sure.
I have, yeah.
You know, so it's like I could see him just being okay mentoring, you know, being a film room guy.
The other question would be, obviously, because the Atlanta just signed him to a pretty big contract, would be what would they want for him?
That would be the thing, you know. What about, okay, I've just thought of something.
All right.
This is why we do this right here. This is it, Sideline Society. This is why we do it. What if you make a blockbuster trade with Myles Garrett in it? You trade Myles Garrett to Atlanta.
You'd be so mad.
You'd be so fucking mad. Shut up. Okay, well, beside that point, you trade Myles Garrett to Atlanta. Okay. What you get back? You get back Kirk Cousins,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts, and maybe like a second or something, whatever you can convince them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Something that from a Cleveland angle, Myles Garrett wants out. That would solve the quarterback problem, at least immediately.
Oh, yeah, at least
immediately for a year or two.
Okay, I don't know if Kirk Cousins is really that guy.
Kyle Pitts has not panned out the way people thought he would in Atlanta for whatever reason. It's just whether it be coaching, scheming, him as a player, but he still has a lot of potential. There's a lot of upside there. You know, him and Kirk already will have had a season of practices. A little bit of chemistry's got to be there at this point with practice and stuff.
Yeah.
You get yourself a little package deal like that, a little placeholder at quarterback. Is he expensive? Yeah, but who gives a shit? You're used to paying quarterbacks a shit ton of money.
I know.
So what's it really matter at the end of the day?
I feel like that, to have that look, because once again, Kirk Cousins is very highly paid. We would almost have to get out of the Deshaun Watson contract.
I think that's coming. Especially if what you're saying is true. You know, he's been dumb enough to post a couple of pictures or whatever that have not been, you know, on the up and up for what he's supposed to be doing recovery wise.
Hopefully, because like I said, we're already technically over the cap, and obviously, if we did bring in someone like Kirk Cousins, that would definitely put us over the cap. The only good thing about drafting a rookie quarterback would be the cheap.
That's a great point. See, once again, I feel like this comes back, you know, not to talk in circles, but you're back to the point where it's like you're almost forced to draft whoever's there, whether it be Cam Ward or Shedeur. Maybe Tennessee takes Travis Hunter, and you have your choice of the two, and that would be honestly, I think, the best case scenario. Yeah. You get to pick which one you want.
Or because we have the first pick of the second round, we try to swoop a quarterback in that a little later.
Are you going to really try and go for something like that, though? I mean, unless you think, I understand like a Patrick Mahomes was the second round, and I know the GOAT was in the 6th round, Brady.
What about Jalen Milroe?
Do you think
he might fall that far?
He could. Is he still officially coming out? Has he said he's going? Is it official, or is it just rumors still?
I'm not really honest with you.
I don't know. I know we saw that mock draft that had him going like top 10 somehow.
But any other mock drafts, I haven't seen him even in the first round.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, I guess you know, Cleveland's got some questions right now, man.
We have a lot of picks.
You got obviously potential.
A big question mark is gonna be Myles Garrett. What can we get for him?
Or do you, like you've said, do you mend it? Do you mend that? Is it mendable? Is it even something that's like a negative? It's not like he's angry and like screw the team. He's just like, look, dude, what is he? He's 29, I think I read.
Yeah.
So it's like he's got probably 2 to 3 more real good years of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to do a rebuild. He re-signed with you guys once. He gave you the run. He tried. You know, he was there for the Baker plays, and you know, he whacked Mason Rudolph on the head. He made his time there, you know. He made his impact, and it's like I don't think it's even like a fixable thing because it's not like broken. It's just it's run its course.
The only way we could fix it or whatever would probably be is if we could convince him that we're not in an actual rebuild, which would mean
you'd have to convince him that you're probably going to be competitive next year and a contender within 2 years.
Yeah, and you know how we could probably do that once again? Draft Abdul Carter.
Edge rusher, okay.
Pair him with that right there. Our defensive line would be OP. Miles on one side.
You assume this guy's going to work out, but I would, you know.
Yeah, he looks
okay.
So, assuming he works out, and then you'd have to swoop in free agency. Once again, an actually already decently established quarterback.
Do you get a Darnold? Do you tell Myles Garrett Sam Darnold is your solution to him?
Or going back,
do you look Myles Garrett in the face and say Sam Darnold?
I feel like one way to honestly once again going back to it, and I don't know how we can make this work once again. Kirk Cousins.
Again, I think you packaged Myles Garrett away in that situation to get him.
I don't know because I don't know what they'd want.
Do they want Deshaun?
No, you would probably have to trade them. Realistically, draft picks for him. Now, but
you guys got a haul.
What would they want for him? I don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't want to give them a first round for Kirk Cousins. He's not that guy.
No, you give him maybe your second or something.
Yeah.
And you're willing to take, and maybe Atlanta, as much as they're playing in the public, the idea that they're okay with him and paying him to sit there. Maybe behind the scenes they're not okay paying him like $55 million a year.
Yeah.
You know, you say a lot of things publicly just to keep save face.
For sure. Even with Cleveland, when we say we're not getting rid of Myles Garrett,
Yeah.
It's also just a negotiating, like...
That very well could be, where it's like, oh shit, we better come with a real good deal or they're not going to talk to
Yeah,
us.
exactly. It's part of negotiations. They're like, yo, we're not getting rid of him.
Yeah.
So they have to come with something great.
So, do we think Cleveland takes a step back forward? Do we think they stay the same? What do we think is going to happen next year realistically?
Well, it would be very hard to take a step back. I mean, you could, but we won, like, what, 3 games?
I think so. So it's like, I guess taking a step back. But do you, what I mean by a step back is like right now, even with the way the season went, again, you know, a lot of question marks. Like, you guys have a lot of draft capital.
Yep.
You guys are getting ready to get out of the Deshaun thing. You can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it's like, it may seem like last year was bleak, but it seems like you guys are like, there's still some hope here now. It's starting to hit a point
Well,
where
we finally have a first-round draft pick, so that's always nice.
Yeah. No. Man.
I don't think, to be totally honest with you, unless something crazy happens, like we do draft Shador, and he actually does come in and just balls out like he's that guy, I don't foresee us, like, necessarily taking a major step forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on what happens with quarterback situation, who we get, and if we end up sticking with who we have, which is like, would be, what's his name,
The quarterback situation? You guys don't have anybody right now. That's
Nah, we have that one dude we drafted.
Who?
This was his second year. What's his name,
I'm not going to pretend like I
I'll
have it in
forget
front of me right
his name.
now.
I know it, I just forget it.
I'm sorry. I was starting to. I'm getting myself prepared for the Steelers as well. So sorry. I'm just trying to get a lot. I got a lot of information in front of me right now. I do not have this random quarterback's name in front of me, unfortunately.
Darian Thompson Robinson.
Okay, I have heard of him.
Yeah.
I don't know why that name sound. Maybe it's just because it's such a long name.
Yeah, I was gonna remember how it went.
Okay.
But yeah. So that's who we have now, obviously, because I think Jameis Winston.
Have you heard anything in your Cleveland Brown fandom about him?
No, we've seen him play a couple times. He started for us when we benched Jameis, and he does not look good. He looked good in preseason.
He does not look good.
He looked pretty good in preseason his rookie year, but the couple starts he has gotten terrible.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's a different game, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, if we keep our current quarterback situation, which obviously I'm sure we'll pick up someone. If we lose Jameis, we're gonna pick up some other free agent quarterback. Now, who would that be? I don't know.
What about, you know, I mean, and I'm not trying to jump ahead right away to the Steelers, but, you know, they got a quarterback situation going with Russ and Fields. We're going to be talking about that here in just a minute.
Did you hear which I mean, we can convert over there.
No, I mean, it's segueing in because, I mean, the quarterback situation, I mean, what if Justin Fields is out there? What if Russ is out there?
I mean, did you hit up the Jaguars about Trevor Lawrence?
I did not.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence right now, his contract looks really atrocious, and I feel like, has he run his course in Jacksonville? I mean, I know we're not going to do a heavy breakdown on Jags right now, but again, you can't talk about certain teams without others. So, I mean,
probably, bro. The Jags,
are they tired of them? I think they kind of are.
The Jags were terrible last year. They were terrible the year before that, but they went to the playoffs one year, but they got dog walked in like the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's Trevor Lawrence or because the Jaguars are just terrible.
I feel like I'm not going to go heavy into the Jags for a moment, but as a quick little overview, I feel like Urban Meyer really set Trevor Lawrence back.
100%.
So like he like put a fucking voodoo on that man or something in some way. But back to the point, you know, Cleveland. There's some quarterbacks out there. I guess there's some options. I think you guys got to draft a quarterback. I think you got to trade Myles Garrett. I think it's run its course, and I think, you know, if you guys win 6 to 7 games next year, you should be happy with it because that's about the best realistic I think it's going to be. And then in 2 years, if Shador or Cam, whoever's there, is developing nicely, you guys are getting pieces around him, you know, maybe one more draft of talent. Maybe in 2 years, you guys are actually a legit, like, maybe playoff team.
Well, with our, I mean, obviously I don't know who we'll pick in the second round, but with our draft picks and what we already have, and with free agency, if we do anything with it, which I don't know if we will.
I mean, there's some guys.
Our receiving core isn't totally ass with Jerry Jeudy kind of popping off actually last season.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could get like one more piece maybe for that, another weapon. Like even if it is someone like Godwin, or you draft someone in the second.
What if you get a Deontay Johnson or something?
Yeah. I was getting Debo, but I don't think Debo would come to us.
I don't think Debo's going to Cleveland.
No.
I just don't.
It doesn't sound right.
It does not.
I can't see Debo wearing.
I like Debo in Cincinnati though. That sounds like.
That sounds nice.
I mean, as a fan of Cleveland, you have to not like hearing that personally. But if you're thinking from Cincinnati's perspective, like that's a good move.
To be honest with you, if Cincinnati loses Higgins and they pick up Debo,
they won.
I don't know. I think I like Higgins more than Debo.
Do you?
To be totally honest with you.
Am I still thinking of the Debo from 3 years ago?
Old Debo, he was nice. But he wasn't that good last year.
That's true. Maybe he needs to change the scenery, though. A little refresher.
I mean, obviously, the whole entire 49ers team wasn't that good last year.
It's true.
I mean, they were like the bottom of the division.
I mean,
like
it's Brock. We'll get there on the 49ers. But, all right. So, moving on to the Steelers now. You know, let's break them down a little bit here.
Let me throw this out for any Steelers like GMs or anything that's listening to this.
Yes.
I'll take Justin Fields off your hands. To be honest with you, I would be kind of content with Justin Fields. I don't know why. He hasn't shown much.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're foolish.
But for some reason, I've always liked Justin Fields.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
Maybe just because I have love for him from his days in Ohio State.
You're really drinking that Ohio State Kool-Aid.
That's like Ohio State.
Okay, all right. I mean, so yeah, getting to the Steelers. Before we delve into the quarterback situation, they say Najee Harris is leaving. So their running back situation, the Steelers, I don't know.
To be honest with you, Najee.
Is he that guy? I feel like he should be, but he's not. Why is he not?
He
should be.
He should get all the hype coming out of college. Like
he should be.
Everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing, like the next, Dale Henry or whatever.
Steelers, yeah, he was gonna pound the
the
rock.
rock. He's not him. To be honest with you, the running back Warren, he's
Warren.
He's actually better than him. Like if you watch him play.
You think they're just gonna give him full-time carries and see what he's got?
Probably. Yeah, he's actually not bad.
It's not a bad move.
But
Justin Fields, Russ, if you're Pittsburgh, which one do you take? I know everybody leans on Justin Fields' stats. You just said you like Fields personally, but I'm saying if you're Pittsburgh, he didn't win games. Russ won games.
No. Justin Fields went 4-2 when he was starting.
Yeah, his stats were not like, or what were they leaning on? He wasn't. It was like kind of. I don't know. I just remember he got benched even despite doing that well.
He did. But once again, though, the Steelers won as many games as they did, and it didn't make sense. Even Russell Wilson didn't really play that well. Like, if you look at him, a lot of his games sucked, but somehow they managed to win. Once again, I don't know if it's just good coaching, defense maybe played a big part in it, but regardless, the quarterback play, whether it was Fields or Russell Wilson, was never that good.
No, it's a great point. I don't think they've got their long-term solution, obviously, at all.
That's why they're looking at
it. And, I mean, as far as their draft, the picks, they got the 15th overall pick. This little mock draft I got in front of me currently has got them taking an offensive tackle, John Simmons, from Ohio State. I mean, I know Ohio State linemen, I don't think you can ever go wrong. It's like a Georgia lineman or something. You just got to take them, and you know he's going to be good.
Once again, line is super important. I feel like it's not like the most sexy thing to pick, but I feel like honestly a good offensive line or a defensive line never
look at Philly.
Never a wrong choice.
Look at Philly. I mean, we've seen, everybody's acting like it's the dawn of like, oh, this is how you build you got to build a line and stuff, but
you have a foundation.
They got 2 second-round picks. One's via trade. They're looking at like Antoine Wells Jr. He's a wide receiver from Mississippi, and maybe like a D lineman again from Ohio State. Maybe they go Ohio State O-line, Ohio State D-line second round. Again, it looks like as far as running back though, they're kind of taking the idea that you have as far as maybe you just have Jalen Warren, just kind of be your feature back.
Yeah.
I mean, do you take 15th? You're kind of going to miss. You can't get anybody really as like a big quarterback player or anything. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing the question is, what do they do with quarterbacks? Do they stick with Russell, or do they go Justin Fields? Or do they? I don't really think at 21 in the first round, and then whatever you just said they had in the second round, unless they. I mean, they could probably pull someone like Jalen.
They got 15 in the first. They're 15th. So I mean,
15th.
that's not horrible. You know what I wonder?
Did they trade with Atlanta? Because Atlanta's got the 15th. On mine, it says they got 21st.
Mine says. Why am I? Maybe I'm. I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, whatever. Maybe that's false information. Where I stand though is just sitting here thinking, like, what about? Again, I'm not going to bring up different names a bunch, but like, what about like a Sam Darnold? He hasn't re-signed with Minnesota. Do you?
I don't know. Once again, the Minnesota thing is another kind of...
Because they've got a whole quarterback situation going right now.
That's
J.J. McCarthy.
It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Because who do they go with? If they keep Sam Darnold, then that opens up... Either they're keeping J.J. McCarthy as a backup for the future, or Sam Darnold's not that old. Is that against them? So are they willing to trade J.J. McCarthy? And if they're not, are they willing to trade Daniel Jones?
I think if you... I don't want to get too heavy on Minnesota, but I think if you trade J.J. McCarthy, you're losing on him because you drafted him in the first round a year ago, and nobody's going to trade him for a first round pick now.
No, I wouldn't.
So you're basically just taking the loss on him.
For sure.
But to the Steelers, do you talk to Atlanta? What do you do? What piece do they even really need right now? They need a quarterback.
To be honest with you, they do.
That should be priority number one.
If I was Pitt, obviously depending on how the draft looks, and obviously they have whole scout teams and stuff like that, so they're going to have a better basic idea of where people are going to go, at least kind of within a couple picks than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But either in the first, whatever they have, 20th, 21st or 15th, you're obviously not going to get like Cam or Sedura, but maybe you do look at someone like Milo, if he's in the draft.
Maybe.
You pick him, you keep Russell Wilson. Maybe you play Russell Wilson next year once again. You pull like the Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre type move.
Do you think Rodgers would go to Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh, I feel like he would go to.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a historic enough of a team, and obviously they got to the playoffs last year, and they're always.
No, and Mike Tomlin's is.
They're always decent.
Do you think?
But here's the question: why would you trade or switch one semi-ass veteran quarterback for another semi-ass veteran quarterback? When Russell Wilson...
Because you don't have an answer. That's why.
Well, you pick... The whole point of keeping... The only way I see where it's logical for Pitt to keep Russell Wilson would be if they draft a rookie quarterback to sit behind him to train. And at that point, who would you rather have train your rookie quarterback? Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? I'm going to say Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers is kind of a dick.
Do you bring Rodgers in with the idea? You're right, by the way. That was my mistake on them. They do have the 21st pick.
Okay.
So looking a little deeper here, Emeka Ibuka, Ohio State receivers, who they got him taken with the 21st pick. So they got him going kind of playmaker, and then D-line, and in their third round, there's this running back Cameron Skidboo.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they got him possibly on there. But
cool.
So basically, they're just saying they're just going to either Russ or... If they're going Russ or Fields, they're probably going Russ. Realistically. That's what they went for the season. Why would they change it now?
I'd imagine. You got them to the playoffs, technically.
You just stick with them one more year. You see where you're at next year, what the landscape looks like.
Yeah. I mean...
They're going to be the same old Steelers. They're not going anywhere.
No. They'll probably once again, I'm sure
First round exit.
I'm sure Tomlin, if nothing else, will keep his winning record. And, yeah. And like I said, they do need wide receivers. The question is, at a certain point, it's like, if you don't have a quarterback, does it really matter if you have wide receivers? I mean, I guess if you get a good enough wide receiver, it can make ass quarterbacks look good.
No, I don't think so. Does it? Because, I mean, look at the situations, because we're coming to an end with the division anyway, so that's I'm not too concerned as far as like switching up conversation a little bit here. But I mean, look at big time receivers that have gone with garbage quarterbacks before. There almost isn't any, and then when they do, it never works out very well. Give me one that is not like a legit top 5, top 10 Hall of Fame receiver. I mean, unless you're just that world-class talent, which I don't think you can rely on getting a guy like that.
No.
You know,
Well,
so it's like, is there like what you get a Mike Evans?
No. That's what I meant though. I was talking about like unless you could super world class type talent receiver, then they can make like look at Jefferson. He definitely made Sam Darnold look like that guy. Or he helped for sure.
Oh, for sure, yes. I can say that. But Darnold, I'm not going to fall victim to drinking the Darnold Kool-Aid again. Darnold, I'm not saying he's a guy, but I'm saying he was a formal first round pick.
No,
you know, there has been a reason he's stuck around the league.
For sure.
Like, people do like him. He does have talent.
No, he is talented for sure. I just think once again, Minnesota was just like that perfect storm for him in a way. With like that great receiving talent, he had enough talent of his own. It made him look really good, and then obviously he just got kind of exposed in the playoffs. Looked terrible.
When you go up against that next level of team, especially in the playoffs, I mean, it's going to happen.
For sure.
Especially when you're Sam Darnold, because you're not a guy.
Yeah, you're not a guy.
No. So, I mean, I guess moving on, the AFC North as a whole, do we see anybody coming out of there and making a real run? Probably Baltimore.
I have to stick with Baltimore.
So you're riding Baltimore.
I
think Baltimore's going to make a run. Pittsburgh will be Pittsburgh. They're going to be the same old Steelers.
I feel like, unless something wild happens for both the Bengals and the Browns, like I said, unless like the Browns draft Sedor, for example, and he does come in, he's just that guy, and like just pushes
Jaden Daniels kind of season.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is that guy. Then obviously we can make a run for it for sure. I mean, our defense, even with or without Miles Garrett, and obviously we have to see what we'll get for Miles Garrett if we get rid of him.
It's a lot of time to go.
Our defense is pretty good. We got pretty good like cornerbacks and stuff like that. Obviously, losing Miles Garrett, if we don't replace him, huge loss. There's no getting around that. Our defense will take a huge hit. But our main problem has always been offense. So if we do draft a quarterback and they just come ball out and they turn out to be that guy, we could make a run. Now, obviously, with the talent we have around him right now, and once again, we have a lot of draft picks that could change. Unless they are really that guy, I don't think we'll make that far of a run. We might jump ahead and maybe make playoffs even if they are that guy, but we probably won't go deep. We'd have to build a little more for that.
Yeah. So.
And with Cincy, I don't even know what Cincy really needs besides offensive line, but I don't know if that's going to push them over the hump even.
Cincinnati, they need something more than Joe Burrow. They need a freaking running game or something.
The crazy thing is they have, like you said, he leads in passing yards, touchdowns. They have arguably the number 2, maybe arguably the number 1 receiver in the league in Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase is, I mean,
who's
he a future Hall of Famer?
For sure, probably, yeah. I mean, he got the Triple Crown this year.
It's true.
So who's really better than Jamar Chase? Maybe you could argue Jefferson, but I mean, obviously Jamar Chase looked better this year with stat-wise. Once again, difference. Joe Burrow's definitely a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
What do you think of the hype that's like just recent because you know the Philly thing, the A.J. Brown hype right now? A lot of people are on the A.J. Brown train.
What, thinking he's that guy?
Thinking he's that guy.
I do like A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is
he like that next level elite receiver now? Did he take that step?
I mean, I always thought A.J. Brown was probably like a top 5 receiver in the league, to be totally honest with you.
Okay.
Like Chase, Jefferson, number 2, number 1, that can be interchangeable. CeeDee Lamb, probably number 3.
I feel like the one knock with A.J. Brown is it's like, as great as he is, do we even definitively know if he's the best receiver on his team?
No.
That's Devontae Smith is
pretty good too.
Yeah, he's super good.
I like A.J. Brown personally more just because of his build. He's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like Devontae Swift is like super small,
but boy, he's good.
He is good for sure.
And he doesn't seem to get hurt or anything.
He's so small, it's crazy, but like he doesn't. He's very durable.
Yeah, he's very like lanky. It's very strange to see. But no, I guess back to the point. You know, I think Baltimore will make a nice run. I think they're going to take a step back. Cincinnati, I don't know what step forward there is for them to take. They kind of are what they are, just like the Steelers. I feel like we know what they are, and they're not going anywhere.
They might be in the same boat as, like we said, the Bills. They might just need a very, like, star-powered defensive player.
Maybe.
Just think about it. If your quarterback is leading in passing yards, passing touchdowns, you have the Triple Crown receiver. The Bengals put up a lot of points per game. they just can't win them, which leads you to believe, obviously, the defense is what's holding them back and lacking. It has to be.
Do you just...
And offensive line. Well, they always need offensive line.
Do you just... I'm trying to think, I was like, man, do you just call Cleveland? Even as a division rival?
I mean, I'm sure...
Would you, as a Cleveland Browns management, would you even talk to Cincinnati?
I would talk to them. If they gave us an amazing deal, better than anyone else, I mean, sure. Wilson Willis, he destroys your game plan for 2 games a season, which would suck. Obviously, 2 games is a big deal.
You guys are already kind of accepting you're not really going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, if they offer us an amazing deal, sure. And like, I don't even remember who it was, some ESPN reporter was saying it. Like in the NFL, like, if Myles Garrett is on the trading block, pretty much all 31 teams have to hit us up for him.
You gotta at least consider it.
Even if they're not like super serious about it, they're gonna hit us up for it.
I would love, talking about the Myles Garrett thing in a little more, just kind of fantasy GMing it. I would love for the Dolphins to talk to him.
You will.
Like Tyreek. What's up? Give us Tyreek and give us one of your 2nd round picks or whatever. Like, and like we'll give you Tyreek, you give us Myles Garrett, and we'll throw in like a 2nd rounder or something. Like, what's up?
We want a first rounder first off.
You're not getting a first rounder. No.
If Tyreek was younger and still in his prime, I would be like, yeah, that's decent. That's a good trade. But we're not taking...
You just said an elite receiver can make a quarterback.
Tyreek's not elite.
You get Shador and you got Tyreek, boy, you guys got hype.
Wow.
Y'all will have the hype.
But Tyreek's not really an elite receiver anymore.
He is, bro. He had one season where he was caught up with baby mama drama.
No, he's getting old.
I'm selling him right now. I'm really trying.
No.
I don't want him. I agree. But, no, I mean, yeah, no, you're right, though. As far as any team, though, you got to at least consider...
You'll at least call for sure, 100%. Even if you're not super serious about it, you're going to have to ask.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're Cleveland, anybody that asks, you got to... I like the Atlanta angle.
Could be something. To be honest with you, though, with that, because we already have Njoku, and I actually really like Njoku as a tight end, but I'd almost rather take, like, maybe Drake London.
Yeah, he's a nice receiver.
Yeah.
He actually is.
Drake London, Kirk Cousins. Then we have Drake London.
And I don't think they're attached to him like that.
No, I don't think so either. For sure not. But yeah, then we have, like I said, Drake London, Jerry Jeudy. And that'd be pretty...
You just take it straight up Kirk Cousins and Drake London for Myles Garrett, straight up like that.
Probably not, no. I want something else too.
Well, what the fuck, man? What else do you want?
Draft picks.
Really?
We want draft capital.
We want draft. What is it? What were you talking about the other day or last week or what was it? You were talking about there's like a 10 million cap hit or something somebody has to take. And
yeah.
Like, somebody needs to eat this.
No, we're eating that too for sure.
Yeah. So you're eating 10 million in debt as well.
As well, yeah. And with Atlanta, they can eat some of that Kirk Cousins debt too.
If they're getting out of the Kirk Cousins deal, I'm sure they'd be willing to eat 10 million.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Versus 55.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys basically, I don't know what the cap room.
Well, that would obviously already over it.
At that point, I would assume you start making some salary cap magic. Maybe the Deshaun situation's developed a little more, and you can just cut him scot free.
Yeah.
Which would be epic for you guys.
Oh,
I mean, that would
sure.
That would almost be a franchise saving move.
And with that,
if you could get rid of him scot
that
free.
would have so much cap space.
If you could get rid of him, just he broke legal binding, whatever, and you don't have to pay him nothing now.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
That'd be the best case scenario.
Oh yeah, for sure. That'd be amazing.
Cleveland ownership's gotta be sitting there trying to find anything they can right now to get out of the deal.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be calling Photoshop or something.
No, okay.
This is what we need. Yeah. But no, I guess, all right, so done with the divisions. Let's talk about just like, I guess, the basic. Where do you see Rodgers really going? Outside of the AFC North, like we've talked. Like, you're Aaron Rodgers. You've had this career. You just basically got told by the Jets. You just got told by the Jets you have no plan at quarterback and are the fucking Jets. They're done with you.
Yeah. Well, they said the Jets actually did come out and say they would consider taking Aaron Rodgers back, but in the statement, like one of the main things they said was he can no longer be on the Pat McAfee show. They don't like. I don't think that's become a problem. I think him going on there weekly. Yeah, because he doesn't go to like the training camp and like the like the team meetings and stuff like that because he's too busy with like interviews.
He's too busy with McAfee and the boys.
Exactly.
That's funny. So I mean, if you're Rodgers, what do you do? Do you think about going to somewhere that do you be kind of like a hired mercenary for a season or two somewhere? Did that just even work out for you with the Jets?
That didn't at all. Maybe the Raiders.
The Raiders? Why? I don't know.
The Raiders. Well, the Raiders need a quarterback. I mean, who do they got?
But does Rodgers again like the Cleveland situation? I don't think Aaron Rodgers would go to. Would he go to the Raiders? Would Aaron Rodgers want to? He's going to have his choice to a degree. He has.
Well, I mean, look at the places his options. It would be like, say for example, it would be Cleveland. It would be the Raiders. I guess it would be the Giants.
Giants aren't a bad. What about this angle? The Titans. They draft Travis Hunter, pick up Rodgers, let Levis sit for a season behind Rodgers.
He could, but that another thing. Do you think Rodgers will want to go to the Titans?
I mean, are the Titans that? I mean, I understand they have the first pick this year. I understand that, but I'm saying in general, like, are they that bad off right now? I mean, I don't have the Titans. We'll do a deep dive on them when we get to their division, but just off the top of my head, are they that horribly random a franchise that you see them just being perennially like bad now?
I don't see them being good anytime soon.
Okay.
Right? I'll say that about. I guess really all the ass teams.
Any team that doesn't have a quarterback sucks right now, and any team that doesn't have a quarterback is probably going to at least want to talk to Rodgers.
Yeah.
But Rodgers ain't going to want to go to any bad situation, but it's like that's the only situations that are going to be available.
Yeah, because no team that is already good is going to take him, except for Pitt. I mean,
Pittsburgh seems like that could be a nice spot.
I mean, Pitt's not really a good team, but they're good enough that they could get over the quarterback hump. They'd have a shot at it.
You know where I kind of I have this weird idea of Rodgers? What if he just goes down to Miami and we give him, $15 million a year to sit on the bench? When Tua gets hurt, like we know he will, you just come in and play for us and hang out. You can go on the McAfee show. You're the backup.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know.
When Tua does his little moment where he locks up and stuff and is looking like doing the kung fu hustle, just be ready.
I don't know if Rodgers would be cool with being a backup. I feel like he's too his ego.
Again, yeah, it's back to Rodgers. Would he do it?
Yeah.
For Miami though, if he feels like it's a legit place, maybe he could go and be a part of a ring. Maybe again.
Yeah, but I think Rodgers, because once again he doesn't have that much longer behind the league. I think he wants to play and be a starter and actually compete and try to get a ring of his own. Actually as a starter.
I think he retires.
He could actually do that.
I think he retires, man. I think any situation that a team is going to actually want him is not going to be a situation that he wants to be in.
Oh, no.
And I think, like you said, is he willing to just go sit on the bench somewhere for $12 or $15 million for the season? He doesn't need the money like that.
No, he doesn't need the money like that. So.
And it's so I just think, does he probably still have some skill to play? I mean, he played decent. He almost had 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
Obviously, when the times came for him to really be Rodgers and win the game and do what they brought him there to do, he couldn't do it.
Okay.
But his numbers were still pretty reasonably there. It's kind of I just don't see a place for him in this league right now.
The only place that I think would make sense, once again, for himself personally, and maybe for the team, would be Pitt. But once again,
that's the best case place.
But like I said before, why would you trade one kind of aging veteran quarterback for another aging veteran quarterback that didn't look good?
If you think Rodgers' ceiling, if you think he's going to be better than Russ, I mean, I guess historically we know. Historically, I would take Rodgers over Russell Wilson.
I would too, but to move on from a quarterback that got you to the playoffs to a quarterback that looked kind of ass, and the team didn't get anywhere near the playoffs.
Nothing like what they thought they were going to get.
It would be I'm not saying they wouldn't give it a shot and it could work out for them, but it would be a stretch, I feel like, to jump to that. And then also, like I said, if you do want a veteran quarterback to mentor a young guy, even if you keep Fields, if you think, we'll sit Fields, you don't want to draft a quarterback, Who would you rather have mentoring the quarterback, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers?
I'd rather probably have neither, to be honest, but I guess Russ.
Russell Wilson, I feel like he would be more into the prospect of actually mentoring someone than Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers technically did it in Green Bay with Jordan Love, and obviously that worked out pretty well for Green Bay. But I don't know, I just don't feel like Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career is really going to want to put the time into being a mentor.
What about this? What about Rodgers goes home?
Back to Green Bay?
No, he goes to San Francisco.
Yeah, he is from San Fran. Yeah, he
From
could.
California, yeah. It's just, what if he goes back west? What if a San Francisco situation where it's like, are they really still sold on Brock Purdy? It seems like they go back and forth every other week about it. Is Brock Purdy the guy? Is he not the guy? And it's like, do you bring in a Rodgers? Do you have a reasonably nice team? Debo wants out, but if you bring in Rodgers, does Debo change his tune? Does Debo decide, hey, maybe I'll stay? Do you make a run for a year or two with him in San Francisco?
He could.
I mean, are the Rams? The Rams are getting rid of Stafford. They're not going to go for Rodgers. That's almost a worse situation. I'd rather have Stafford.
Oh, 100%.
So I guess
Stafford.
I think he retires, man.
I think he will probably retire, and then he'll just. I don't know. He said publicly that once he retires, he's going to disappear and not be a part of anything.
I believe that.
But he might, yeah. Just go chill in some.
I don't think he's going to be a sideline guy.
No,
or in the booth announcing.
No.
He's not going to do his own pie. I think the most you'll see him is once a week on McAfee.
That's what I'm going to say. I think he'll just do that, and then he'll just be down in Peru in some.
Ayahuasca, baby. That's what he'll be doing. He'll be on a trip discovering himself.
Yep, exactly, for the rest of his life.
Guys, I mean.
I would, though, speaking of that, though, the Rams, I'd take Stafford. I'd be a pretty clutch pickup, honestly. I'd probably rather have Stafford than Kirk Cousins. I didn't even think about him being on the trading block, honestly.
Yeah. Stafford could be, I'd rather have Stafford than Tua in Miami, to be honest, if we're talking about it.
I actually really like Stafford.
No, let's have a little talk. Is Stafford a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so. Was he ever really the best? I mean, he won one Super Bowl when he first got to the Rams. I mean...
I feel like there was a time, again, there was some tough years in Detroit, but, maybe he was one of the best.
Yeah, Detroit was terrible, but, I mean, maybe...
He did all he could. He had some great years,
he did.
Despite that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, his time with Megatron was pretty
impressive.
Pretty special, for sure.
Even for the lack of team success.
Around him, yeah.
When you got elite players, I don't think anybody's ever questioned Stafford as an ability.
No, for sure not. He's always been a solidified starter, for sure.
He's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He did it with a different team, year one.
So here's the question.
What are his numbers? Go ahead, you go. And
we've already talked about Eli Manning last time, and how he'll probably be a Hall of Famer, just not a first-round Hall of Famer.
Eli's getting in because he beat the Patriots twice. The undefeated Patriots, that's what's getting Eli in.
Do you think Stafford has anything like that? Obviously not quite as like...
Who'd they beat for the Super Bowl?
The Rams, they beat the Bengals.
That's right, okay. So, I mean, okay, yeah, no. So he did, the Super Bowl. He's got over 55,000 yards.
He also had a season where they didn't win a single game.
Was he a part of that team?
Yes.
I think he came to that team. I don't think he was a part of that team. He came the year after that, I think.
Did he?
I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. He probably, realistically, he might finish top 5 all-time in passing and touchdowns. He has a 5,000-yard season, multiple, 4,000-plus yard seasons. He doesn't have any MVPs, no All-Pros. Mostly a losing record in Detroit. He was 0-3 in the playoffs in Detroit.
Yeah, I don't really know.
And then, like you said, was he ever like an era-defining guy? Was he like the guy? Like, no, there was always Brady, there was Manning, there was Rodgers.
I don't know if he does. To be honest with you, I don't think so.
I mean, if he finishes, if he's got 60,000 yards, 400-plus touchdowns, a Super Bowl, he had some dark years in Detroit, but does anybody personally hold that against him?
No, I don't think so.
He had the individual success with the numbers. Obviously, he's not a first ballot. Do you think Stafford, though, at some point ever?
Maybe. He might get in.
His numbers ain't bad, man.
He might get in the future with like when there's a weak Hall of Fame draft.
Maybe like
Yeah.
there's just like it's one of those. It's been 20 years. You can put him in now.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get in very quick though, just because, like I said, he's never really won any like accolades like MVP or anything like
Nothing.
that.
He's at a 5,000. I mean, his numbers though. Maybe I'm not gonna say he's been snubbed, but like man, never even had an All-Pro.
That's all I'm saying. So I don't know.
That's shocking. I felt like he should have.
That's kind of shocking, actually. Yeah, for sure. Because he's been good. Like I said, he's had his.
But if he's finishing 60,000 yards, 400 plus touchdowns, a
I mean-
Super Bowl, I mean, nobody holds the Detroit years against him personally. He did everything he could.
Yeah.
I think he could get in.
He might be able to get in during a weak one, like I said.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
not bad. Okay. I don't know. I just thought that was a fun little as we were going there for a second.
Yeah.
But no, I think Rodgers retires. I think that's about I don't know.
Yeah, I think his career will end. Obviously, like I said, probably in the way out unless, like I said, the only team that makes sense that he would probably want to go to would be like Pitt. But I don't know if that really makes sense for Pitt.
Right.
So he'll probably end up retiring, just going and doing his cave diving,
Probably realistically.
and then I don't know where Matthew will go or Cooper Kupp. So trading both of them, it sounds like getting rid of them.
Yeah. No, it does. Like you talked about, maybe they go to Cleveland or something.
That'd be cool.
But no, I guess wrapping it up, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Please always like, comment, subscribe. Sideline Society. We're always excited to hear comments and stuff. We've got a couple. Next week, let's aim for the NFC North.
Yeah, we'll just jump back and forth.
We'll
For sure.
go. We did the AFC North this week. We'll do the NFC North next week. So that'll be the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings.
Yep, that should be a good one.
So be interesting to see what we think of them. Obviously, the Lions were one of your Super Bowl picks way too early.
Yep, way too
So
early.
I'll be curious to hear what you got to say about that.
See, like I said, obviously the Vikings' whole quarterback situation will be an interesting one to discuss.
Yeah, it really will be. Even the Chicago situation, I actually already got some interesting thoughts. We'll save them, but I got some already. Then
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
just on surface, just looking at the name, I'm like, I got plenty to say about Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, guys, thanks. Please, Sideline Society, please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time. I'm Rich,
I'm Quill.
and that's about it.
Yeah, catch you next time.
See you.